morning, everyone. And I hope you have a good rest last night. So here I am to share with you my story. So basically, most organizations, in their hiring requirement, they will have a popular buzzword, and that is passion. But today, I would like to suggest another word, and that is compassion. Because when I think of the word C-O-M, I actually think of the word community. And the beauty of this word compassion, it turns the word me into we. So my first lesson in compassion actually began when I was 19 years old. And back then, I was just an A-level graduate waiting to enter university with the rest of my friends. So we would just have so much time on our hands, and we came across this newspaper article. In short, it is a design challenge. And we thought, hey, why not we give it a shot? But there was a catch. It says clearly, design professionals only. And we are not. So what we did, we called ourselves freelance designers. It's just that nobody buys our work. So with our brand new titles, we came up with a proposal of what we think should be implemented, and we submitted it in and just cross our fingers, let's hope for the best. And we actually got through. So we're like, wow, okay. But at this time, the organizers, they scrutinized our age, and they realized that we are dubiously young. Because everybody else, they were like 20s and 30s, and we are like 18, 19. That's pretty telling you're a kid, right? So when we did that, we actually were told that we have to get a real design professionals to join us. Otherwise, they're going to kick us out. So we scrambled, and we found a real design professional to join us. So thankfully, we got on with the competition. So within this competition, everyone must work with somebody who's physically challenged. So some people got a wheelchair user, but for us, we got a beautiful lady, and her name is Rosie. Now, Rosie is very fascinating, because even though she's blind, she'll go mountain climbing. I'm serious. She will go and climb Mount Kinabalu. And when I hear that, I was like, oh my God, I only climb stairs. Right, I only climb stairs. So, and there was something she did that really intrigued me. We had only 2 days with her, and we had to conceptualize everything and push it out within 2 days. But when I was with her, we took 1 day to explore and know her. We realized that she will always take out her lipstick, she'll put it on, and she'll look at us, like turn towards us, and she will say this, is this color beautiful? Does it look nice on me? And I'll look at her and we'll say, yes, Rosie, you are beautiful. But this is something she did that made me realize everyone deserves to use beautiful things, even if they're blind. And if my friends and I hadn't taken the time out of 2 days, we took 1 day to know her, we wouldn't have actually drawn all these revelations. So I really believe that before you rush into any solution or tackle any brief, take time to know the person you're designing for. It will make a huge difference. And the story of Rosie didn't end there. We're in the competition, remember? So because she loves to exercise, we actually proposed an exercise machine where able-bodied people like us and physically challenged people, perhaps wheelchair users or the blind, will be able to exercise on the same platform. The basic idea behind it is to encourage interaction between these two groups of people. And by merit of our proposal, we actually came in second. Yeah, I was really, really humbled by that. So we got a chance to exhibit at Vivo City. So the place was really crowded, and Rosie's about 50 plus. So as I lead her along, and when you lead a blind person, you do not just hold their hand and pull. No, don't ever do that. You stretch out your hand, you guide their hand to rest on you, and you bring them. So that was what I did. I slowly moved to her pace, and as I was bringing her through the exhibition site, suddenly she used her other hand and she held me really tight. And I quickly turned because I don't want her to fall down. And then she looked at me and she said this. She said, I love our product because once I'm inside, no one will know I am blind. And that really impacted me, because with these words, it touched me, and it made me realize my perception of design was, oh, beautiful posters, pretty things. But with those words, it suddenly made me realize that when you design something that's beautiful and functional, you make people able to do things themselves. They're no longer reliant on others, they're independent, and in short, their self-esteem goes up. The way they look at themselves, and in general, their quality of life goes up. If you can really design something that will give people dignity, that's when design have the power to change lives. So I think it's really amazing that it was actually a blind lady who touched my heart on this area. So with Rosie's words, I actually make the decision to study product design. And fast forward 3 years later, in university, I had a chance to take my design skills and do something good. So I decided that I'm not going to design another chair, another table, or another cup, because there are plenty of beautiful options in this world. I wanted to use my skills to meet a need in society. And when National University Hospital told me of one problem that they're facing, and that is children are afraid of needles. Can anything be done about that? So I look at them and I say, I don't have the answer, but I will try. So to tackle this challenge, I volunteered for a very short while in a local hospital. Basically, we make squeeze balloons and we give to kids. The purpose behind it is to immerse myself in the context and to observe my users once again. And there was something I saw there that really touched me. I remember we made a balloon. It was a white-colored dog, and we wanted to give to this little boy. Most kids, when they see a balloon, they'll run to you, but this kid can't. And the reason is because he's lying on his bed. He had all these tubes in and out of him. He dare not move, because he's afraid that he might trip over something or he might entangle himself. And he just lay there with his eyes staring right back at us. And we can only move forward and put it at the bedside. And I realized from this experience that these children within the hospital walls, you don't really have much chance of a proper childhood. And there's also another issue, and that is, if you're going to tackle big words and explain to them that you need to go through this injection for a blood test or chemotherapy, you know what? What does injection mean to the kid? These big words means nothing to them. So there got to be a better way to explain to children. So how's the best way? The best way is to look at the life through the child's eyes. So I'll pull up 2 examples here. So I was playing tic-tac-toe with this little boy. He's about this tall, and next year he's going primary 1. So it's very cheeky, and we know the rules of tic-tac-toe, and that is, you have 3 squares in a row, you win. So basically, when I was playing with him, I was winning all the time, because I planned ahead. When it was his turn, do you know what he did? He did this. Yes, he covered the entire thing, and I look at him and I was like, can you explain? Like, what is this? And he looked at me pretty righteously. He said, I win, I won. I was like, why? He said, I covered all the squares. So I was like, okay. I was thinking to myself, it's true. I mean, who are we as adults to say otherwise? Who are we to set the rules? This shows you the creativity, and they're not bounded in a box. These children, they have such energy and life. And there was another incident that really impacted me. So I teach art as part of my interaction with kids, because I love to give them something that's fun to do. So they would have this crayon box. So there was this little boy. He would take the plastic sheet that covers his crayons, and he would set them up in an upright position. And I would look at it, as it is over here. I would look at it and I would ask him, what is this? And he looked at me excitedly, and he was like, Teacher Esther, this is my laptop. I'm like, oh, so it's your laptop. And when you stare at it carefully, you will understand why. Because if you look at, there's this plastic sheet that's reflective, and there's the crayon at the bottom. To him, all that matters is that when you open up a laptop, it forms an L shape. As long as the gesture of opening the laptop is there, that is all that he needs to see that it's a laptop. And the plastic, it mimics the reflective surface of a laptop screen, and it's also poetically beautiful as well, because as adults, we use our laptop keyboards to create documents. But for them, all they needed was actually those crayons to unleash their imagination and draw out their ideas. So as you can see from all these examples, children communicate in a much more richer way than all of us. Now, how do we pull it all back to the hospital environment? How do we make a place that smells of chemical, that looks cold, with strangers all around you, look more fun? Then, through the research, we realized that one good way is to familiarize the child with the instruments that's going to be used. By doing so, you reduce the anxiety so that when the actual procedure is done on them, they wouldn't be that afraid, because now they know what's happening. So with this in mind, Rabbitry was born, and I'm going to show you Rabbitry here. So the reason why it's a rabbit face was because I asked 50 children, and I asked them, can you tell me what's your favorite? So basically, I disguise it in a form of an art lesson. And these kids, most of them, including the boys, they actually chose the rabbit. And I was like, wow, okay. So that's how it became the rabbit. And why is it generally in white color? It's because a nurse told me that some children have the perception that a figure in white, a doctor or a nurse, is there to hurt them. So we tried to introduce a figure in white in a friendly way. So there was much thought put into this process, and because it's the month of December, Rabbitry is dressed in a winter jacket in Christmas colors, in the festive mood. So I'm going to show you one of the basic ideas behind the function. So if you look over here, firstly, when you see an instrument like this, number one, it doesn't tell you which part of your body is it going to enter and what it does. And number two, it does look scary. So this is actually the IV pot, the IV drip needle. So what most children do and they think is that once you poke it into your hand, they connect it to the back, and they think that there is a needle inside because there's the yellow portion left there. And they wouldn't move their hands, they would immobilize it. They wouldn't dare to move. And the specialist was telling me that this is not a good thing, because you want to let them know you can move and have circulation. You want to live life as per normal as much as possible, even if you have the pot. So through this role play over here, the injection portion, which is the white color, and that is the needle, as you can see in this picture, is actually disposed of. The kid will pull it out, throw it away, and all that is left is actually that yellow colored thing. When you see that pointy end, that is a plastic tube. That is all that is left in your hand. And so when you actually let a kid participate and role play, it registers in their head, and you make them realize that, hey, when we play it out, we're like, so is there any more needle inside? And the kid will be like, then we're like, no, there's no needle, okay? You're safe to move your hands, and you pull out this plastic and let him play and touch it for himself. So through this role-playing process, children learn best because it's an active learning. It is playing. It is not words alone. So with this idea in mind, but more importantly, I noticed that children within the hospital walls, they don't have much of a childhood, and I believe that irregardless of your medical condition, you should be able to have an enjoyable time as much as possible. And that's one thing that is very sad. And there is sometimes when people look at kids with chronic illness, they tend to see the illness first. They tend to see the cancer, the diabetes first. They forgot that at the end of the day, the main thing you should remember is this is a child. So that's why this social enterprise Joytingle was born, and we believe in children first, patients second. So what Joytingle does is that we actually work with healthcare workers. So Rabbitry is our first project with National University Hospital. We have other projects on hand. Basically, we work with them, find out what's their needs, design the right tools to explain to children in a friendly way. But more importantly, when a healthcare worker doesn't have to explain verbally and try to get the person to visualize, but use a tool as a metaphor to explain instead, it is clearer, and it showed that actually it saves time over a long run. So that's the idea of what Joytingle is doing. And when you actually get to know your users, you really will take time to listen to them. And when I mean listen, I don't mean you just listen with your ears. You listen with your heart. Because very often, even these users themselves, or even the kids, they may not be able to articulate what do they need. So the best way is to observe and walk the life through with them and explain and understand. So as I was drafting this talk, and this is TED, after all, TEDx to me, it's really big. And I was asking myself, what can I impart? What can I share? What is behind all these stories? What is the common underlying thread? And I realized it is compassion. We can have the best skills in the world. We can have the best design or whatever talent you have in your line of career. However, if you do not have love for what you do, or you do not have empathy and compassion to listen to the users that you're working with or serving, it's going to be empty. It's going to be all just for show. So I'd like to say that skills can be practiced, methodologies can be taught, but values can only be caught. And I'd like to say that when you have compassion, you will really listen carefully to your users and understand their need, so that you will formulate a solution thoughtfully. When you have compassion, even if you don't have the answer, you'll strive towards one. And when you have compassion, may I say, that's when innovation begins. Thank you.